Today we'll be exploring some fiqh questions and we are joined by Sheikh Ayub. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you this morning?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Good,
nice to see you.
Good. Always a pleasure. Always a
Alhamdulillah.
pleasure, Sheikh.
Barakallahu feekum.
So we have a question regarding adoption. I believe it's from a sister in the UK and it reads, I am blessed to already have a large family and found out that I'm expecting again. My sister, although married for 17 years, has never been able to conceive. Am I able to allow her to adopt my unborn child when the child is born, inshallah? And it's from an anonymous sister in the UK. Is that permissible?
Adoption is allowed in Islam. Adoption, we can see it in different forms and shapes. It happened during the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the Holy Prophet adopted a young man by the name Zaid. And he took very good care of him. Of course, he's a prophet. Until Zaid became famous as Zaid, son of Muhammad. Why? Because of good treatment from the Holy Prophet. Now, in order for us to be according to the Islamic law, we need to understand few sensitive issues. And this particular question is sensitive.
Right.
I am allowed to adopt, but after adoption, when the child reaches the age of maturity, bulugh, then there will be some restrictions in terms of hijab, which is something very, very sensitive. Imagine a lady has taken care of a boy since when he was young, and then all of a sudden the boys become a baligh. Then the mother has to cover herself in terms of hijab, not to expose hair or whatever, because of this particular son
So
has
she
come.
would still be a boy's auntie.
In this scenario, it would be different, though. Would it be
No.
different?
This
Because he
scenario,
cannot marry his
yeah,
aunt?
this scenario is two sisters, isn't it?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
the two sisters, two sisters is easy, because why? The son or a daughter
Will
will
be a
call,
nephew by blood, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So of course, he or she will treat the mother who is adopting this particular boy as auntie. So the issue of hijab is not a big issue here.
But if it was just a good friend who could not conceive and she
Yeah.
wanted her to adopt,
Yeah.
then that first practice, that first ruling would apply. that
Indeed.
she has to,
Sorry,
the woman would have to cover.
We have a
Indeed.
caller. Sorry.
All
just a
right.
moment.
Mashallah.
Sister Zainab from London.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm really loving this so much.
Alaikum
Allah.
salam.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
It's really, really great that you guys are talking about this. And Sister Zahra, I particularly think that you're doing such a great job,
Oh, thank you
mashallah. And
so
Sheikh
much.
Ayub and Brother Bilal, bless you all.
Mashallah.
Thank you.
My question is about fostering. Basically, I'm a foster parent, alhamdulillah, and I just wanted to know what Islam says about fostering children. I mean, mostly in regards to the concept of teenage maturity. Like, as an example, is it frowned upon? Like, as in, obviously I'm female and I'm fostering a young boy and he's past that age, 16 upwards. Is that a problem to foster children of the opposite gender who've reached that age of maturity? And I mean, isn't it kind of a good thing to do? Because obviously it's like you're doing something for that child that doesn't have parents or has, problems at the moment. And obviously Islam tells us to, do these kinds of things, help people. And even more so because, as a Muslim, I wear a headscarf and everything. So, I mean, I'd be fostering and people would, a lot of the kids that do come to me as well, they're non-Muslim. And it kind of just opens a gateway sort of to the whole Islamic, as in them learning about it and things like that. But I mean, I don't want to compromise my religion at the same time.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I could have your thoughts on that subject, and that would be great. And once again, thank you, mashallah, for doing this work and talking about these things. It's so important for our community. Bless you all.
Thank you so much, sister. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really heartwarming.
Indeed.
Someone's sacrificing their time.
Indeed. And to start the answer to this question, we need to congratulate the sister. Because why? Sister Zainab is taking care of a human being. regardless of creed, faith, whatever. You are taking care of a human being, regardless whether this human being is a child or a teenager. Take care of a human being. Not only a human being, even animals. Islam encourages us to take care of other beings. Now, this particular scenario here, this boy or girl has lost the father and mother. We can't just say, no, because I have my own children, I don't care about fostering. Islam encourages us to take care of children, whether in terms of fostering or adoption. It is something very encouraged for us to go into that particular way of supporting those who are in need. However, there are a few things which needs to be looked at here. Number one, the way Sister Zainab has said there, I don't want to compromise with my religion. So she has to adhere to the Islamic principles of jurisprudence when it comes to the relationship between herself and if she is taking care of a boy, so hijab needs to be there.
So Sheikh, so when you say hijab, you're talking about physical hijab, but if she's, let me just throw it out there, she's doing a mothering type of role. It's not adoption, he's not going to stay with her forever. It's temporary, but she's still extending not just the four walls of her house, but extending her love. Can she cuddle the boy if he's he falls over or anything of this nature if he's a child, or is this compromising her hijab?
No, in terms of saving the life of someone who is in danger, she is allowed to hold, to carry, to contacts, physical contact, in terms of touching.
Yes,
it is allowed. If there is, for example, a situation where she needs to save or take a hand of this particular boy in order for him to guide or something like that. But in terms of physical hugging, for example,
like he just needs love. He's missing his mom. He's having a teary moment, lump in his throat. He's crying.
No, if the situation is not of life and death situation, then unfortunately, Islam doesn't allow the physical contacts. So it's a problematic issue. Because
sensitive, isn't it?
And very sensitive.
Your instinct as a child, like with a parent, when you're in a parenting role, and the child is just, you want to put your hand on their shoulder, just show some kind of affection.
Sure. It's unfortunate.
Is it the same rule if the child is 3, 5, 10, 15?
No, before the age of bulugh, maturity, you're allowed. But after that, no.
Okay.
I don't know how many teenagers want a cuddle.
Yeah, unfortunately. However, recently,
younger child.
Yeah, recently,
and even teenagers are humans too and need a cuddle at some time.
Recently in UK, and I think this is a new law. Maybe you can just check. That those who are fostering in UK, they are not allowed to cuddle. Why? Because of some issues which happen with some people. Safeguarding, health and
child
safety
protection.
issues. Child protection. A parent is not allowed to do that. But in Islam, we are looking at the issues of mahram, and so on and so forth. However, to take care of this particular young person, it is highly recommended because you are taking care of a human being here. So that's very important to be looked at.
Going back to this original scenario, so we have the sister that's going to adopt, or is wanting to know if she can give a child for adoption to her sister, her own sister. What about her, the kind of conversation she needs with her husband? Because does the father have to consent? Is it just advisable? Is the child belong to her because she's carrying the child? Islamically, how does that play out?
I actually thank you because you have reminded me about this particular point, which is very important. A sister is allowed to adopt. A sister is allowed to foster, but if she is married, of course, the permission from the husband is very important. And this naturally, if two people live together, one cannot decide without the consent or discussing with, if, for example, in this case, husband and wife. So they need to agree that we want to do adoption or fostering together in order for us to know what is happening. It is something very encouraging to see that this sister is thinking about another fellow human being. My sister doesn't have a child, So I'm going to do this particular decision because I want her also to have the feeling of a mother the way I have.
Very
and
generous,
this in Islam,
very generous,
yeah,
very
it
generous.
is encouraged because of generosity. We need to spread it within the community.
I actually know a family that two sisters, one sister couldn't have, she had a daughter and they couldn't conceive, and then the other sister had many children, mashallah, I think 9, and then she had twins. So the one of the twins looked like the sister, and so she gave that twin to her to adopt, and then she kept the one that looked like her.
Yeah.
And then when the twin grew up, it was a very difficult situation because the poverty was different, like the level of sustenance in the family was different. The child that went into the auntie's family was poorer.
Okay.
So he struggled in his life, whereas the family he'd left, they were more affluent. So there was a lot of resentment in that child when he grew up. So it's not an easy task to just say hand your child over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of social issues that must be affecting children.
Yeah.
So I guess that's something that we don't really consider. We think it's very noble, but
Sure.
a lot of implications, aren't there?
Sometimes there's a psychological side as well, because you meet
Yeah.
people who have been adopted and they sometimes, or oftentimes, they can carry a lot of emotions, unresolved issues of why would I've heard the story, but I just want to meet my parent. Like in this situation, it sounds like it's two sisters, so there will be a family connection anyway.
Sure.
And you know, these things happen where people, you know, a child will go and live with their aunt because, say, the mum can't afford it, but they know that's my mum and this is my aunt, but my auntie brings me up like she loves me like I'm her own child.
Sure.
And she doesn't have children. This happens in many cultures, but
Yeah.
when people are adopted by strangers, and you know, at a young age, and they only knew these people as their parents, and when they was 10 or whatever the time, the parents decided to actually sit them down and say, you know, we're not actually your biological, we love you all the same, but we're not your biological parents. You know, people like this can go through a lot of psychological problems.
And traumas, yeah. Actually, Islam says clearly in Surah Al-Ahzab, "Ud'uuhum li'abaihim." Call the children you adopt by the names of their fathers. So unfortunately, sometimes when we adopt or we foster children, we change their names. Because my surname is this, I'll give this surname to this particular son or daughter. That's, according to Islam, is not allowed. Quran says clearly, call them by the names of their fathers. So the idea of this young boy or girl, when he or she grows up and comes to know that, oh, you know what, even my surname is not this, my surname is another one, this causes trouble and problems. So keep the name of the father, biological father, then it will not cause any problems. Of course, the son will ask, or the daughter, why my name is this and this family, their name is this particular. Eventually, he will come to know.
So there's a kind of hikmah, not kind of, there's a hikmah in there, so that there's going to be always a seed in a child's mind, or that these people are not my parents, but maybe I don't understand the fullness of it. Because what happens is, I think, in sort of the non-Islamic societies where adoption is quite, you know, popular and is good, although they're always trying to get more people to adopt, is that people have a need. Sometimes it's people who can't conceive, and they have a need to really want to feel the child is their own psychologically. So they may get the child from a very young age and not want to tell the child and have that family home and that family situation, and then later on, child's in their teens or something, and then the two parents have this, we need to tell them, no we don't, yes we do, and it becomes
indeed
tricky.
It can
become very tricky.
And maybe to advise the people who have changed the names of the children, sometimes they ask, what can we do now? It's been quite a long time. I think they need to go according to the Holy Quran. Clearly, the Quran says, call them according to the names of their parents. They need to go back to that.
Sorry, can I just ask you a final question before we're going to finish? We've got a couple of minutes left. So you said the name of the child should be referred to as the biological father. In non-Islamic societies, we know children can be bred outside of marriage and born, without the parents being married. So you adopt a child who perhaps was born not with the father's name on the registered birth certificate. We don't know who the father is. Is it permissible for a family to adopt a child, maybe a Muslim? And I've actually knew somebody many years ago. The girl was born, little girl was born in a situation like that. Is it allowed for a Muslim family to adopt a child that may be illegitimate?
Yeah, sure. Here we are talking about taking care of a human being, taking care of a child. So yes, they can adopt. And whichever name is there, they need to take that as the name of this particular child, but not to refrain, not to take care of a child because why? Maybe the child is born out of wedlock. It's not advisable. We need to think about well-being of this young one. And the gunah, the sin, the haram which was committed by the father and mother shouldn't affect this particular young one. We need to show that we care and we need to take care of them.
That's lovely, because I think often we can be judgmental towards children that, you know, it's not their doing, it's not their, you know, wasn't their sin, and then often there's a stigma with them.
Sure.
So that's a beautiful final message from you.
Alhamdulillah.
So we're going to take a break now, and when we're back, more smoothies.